So the new Endless Ocean came out and there's a lot of incentive to do the online mode. Between saving up points to level up your diving rank, or if you just want to go on the leaderboard, there are quite a few reasons on why you want to collect as many points as possible per dive. In this video, I want to show off a couple of tips and tricks that I have learned that has helped me to consistently get over 200,000 points per online dive. Now I feel like I should preface that not every trick will work with every dive. Some dives will put you in different environments, you may have disconnects, or you may not have good UML or light orb RNG. However, most of these tricks will help you out regardless on the terrain and type of dive that you are in. I am focused solely on the online aspect, so solo dives obviously will earn more points over time, as you're not confined to the 1 hour time limit. In addition to that, I am aware that there are faster ways to earn online points, which would be by getting as many points as possible in one room and then hopping over to another dive. However, if you're trying to get as many points as possible in a single dive, this video will be the one to help you out. Anyway, just wanted to get that out of the way before we get into the actual video itself. In this video, I'll be walking through what I consider to be one of my worst online dives that I've had in a while walking you through all the tips, tricks, and strategies I use to still gain a large number of points. Immediately upon opening the lobby, I opened up the map to find out where everyone else was. Meeting up with other players is very important and is something that we will be focusing on in just a little bit. After that, I immediately focused on scanning the fish and the creatures that were all around me. There are a couple areas that are better than others when it comes to scanning, but reefs, which is where I spawn, is one of the best areas in the game in order to farm a lot of creatures very quickly. Scanning new creatures will give you a lot of points very quickly, so be sure to do that. I see a lot of players skipping over them in favor of the exploration and the salvaging, but scanning the fish, or researching them as the game calls it, can get you a lot of points very quickly, especially in the early parts of the dive. After that, I began moving toward the general direction of another player while scanning all of the fish and creatures in my general vicinity. If there is a reef or a shipwreck that is nearby, I would recommend scanning all the fish there before moving on to the player, and if you encounter any treasure on the way there, be sure to dig it up and leave a mark as well, but generally you want to try to meet up with at least one player as soon as possible. Now there's two big reasons why you want to meet up with at least one player as soon as possible. The first is because when you scan a creature or dig up any treasure that is within the same vicinity of another player, you get a point bonus in addition to the normal amount of points that you would get. In addition to that, any stickers and markers that the other player puts down on the map will become available to you as soon as you meet up with them. That way you know where rare fish and rare treasure is spawned at, and you could go over there and get some free points that way. So the main tips I have for the early game: as soon as you spawn in, immediately open your map and figure out who the closest player is. After that, scan as much fish as you can in your general area and start slowly moving toward them while scanning as much fish and digging up as much treasure as possible. When you do dig up treasure, be sure to mark it with a sticker so that other people know where it is. When you meet up with another player, the stickers that you all have put down become shared, and that way you know exactly where everything is. It is a very good way to map out where all the treasure is on the map, so that way you don't miss out on anything. By this point of the dive, the fish with the biometric signs, or the anomalies as I like to call them, will have spawned. If you're able to see one on the map, slowly make your way towards it while scanning all the fish in your general area. If not, then look around and try to find one while also scanning all the fish. These anomalies, or the biometric fish, whatever you want to call them, are a very good way to earn points very quickly, as if you're the first one to scan them, you gain a very easy 1000 points for each fish. There's not too many tips I could give in terms of finding out where exactly they spawn. However, I have found that quite a few of them do like spawning in the deeper, darker areas of the map. So if you are near an area with an underwater cave that goes below 100 feet, I would recommend checking there, as more often than not, you will find at least one down there. Once you have scanned all the anomalies, or biometric fish, I'm calling them anomalies for the sake of the video, is easier. Once you scan all of them, the unidentified marine life, or the UML, will spawn on the map somewhere. I recommend making a beeline for where the UML spawns as soon as possible. There's a couple reasons why I recommend doing this. The first is that more often than not, there are quite a few rare species that spawn very close to where the UML is, so you can get a lot of quick and easy points that way if no one else has scanned it. The second reason, a lot of other players on the map will be making their way toward the UML, so that way you'll meet up with a lot of them, which means that a lot more of the map, and more importantly, a lot more stickers on the map indicating where treasure and fish are, will open up to you. The third reason is arguably the most important. As soon as the UML is scanned, you'll start seeing light orbs spawn across the map. These light orbs are one of the best ways and one of the fastest ways to very quickly earn points, and is going to be one of the main ways that we earn over 200,000 points per dive. After scanning the UML and having the light orb spawn, I recommend looking at the map and going towards all the marks that the other players have put down. while at the same time constantly scanning your general area to look out for any blue orbs or any reefs and shipwrecks that you might possibly find some new fish or new orbs to collect. The reason I recommend doing this is because a lot of times you'll find players disconnect after the first UML, as a lot of online players will room hop in order to find different variations of the UMLs, and whenever a player leaves the lobby, all of the stickers that they put on the map will disappear. While you're heading toward all the markers that are put on the map, I also recommend trying to travel as much as possible in areas that have not been explored by other players yet. The reason for that is both to find new fish to scan and also to fill out more of the map, as you get a point bonus for filling out the entirety of the map. After the UML despawns and the light orbs go away, you have a little bit of time to kill before the next anomalies or biometric fish spawn in. What I generally do is to try to take this time and go through as much of the unexplored part of the map as possible, meeting up with as many players as I can and filling out as much map as possible so that way the next UML spawn could be done very quickly. I'm not exactly sure how soon after the UML despawns the anomalies will start to spawn in, but for when I've timed it, it's generally between 3 and 5 minutes, so after that time is up, you can start looking around the map for them again and try to scan them in, as each one, like I stated before, gives you 1,000 points per fish, and the sooner you spawn in the UML, the more light orbs will spawn in, which means, once again, lots of fast and lots of easy points. Ideally, you want to try to get the UML to spawn 3 times per dive. However, on this dive in the video, I got unlucky and was only able to spawn him in twice, due to the fact that both times it took us quite a while to find the anomalies to scan, as a lot of them were in the deep underwater caves and blended in with the environment. After getting the second UML to spawn in, scan it as soon as possible to get the light orbs to spawn, and then go back through the map looking for clusters of light orbs. A couple places where you could generally find a lot of light orbs in one area are shipwrecks and reefs, particularly shipwrecks. I ended up making a couple mental notes on where all the shipwrecks were in this map, and every time a UML spawned, I went there and got quite a few points from the light orbs that would surround the ships. After that, it's pretty much rinse and repeat for the rest of the dive. Go to areas that you have not gone to, even if other players have gone through them, just in case if there were any fish that they forgot to scan. Salvage as much treasure as you can and mark it for other players, as well as going to the stickers that they put down in order to collect what they've collected, and scanning as much fish as possible to try to fill out the map and the fish completion bonus. Those are pretty much the main tips and tricks that I have regarding online dives and how to maximize the amount of points you get per dive. To summarize, for early game, as soon as you spawn in, open up your map and find where the closest players are. Scan as many creatures and collect as much treasure in your general vicinity as possible, while slowly starting to make your way to another player in order to meet up with them. After meeting up with another player, begin looking for the anomalies to scan them, as each one gives you 1,000 points and brings you one step closer to the UML spawning. As soon as the UML spawns, make a beeline to it and scan it as soon as possible in order to get the blue light orbs to spawn in. After you scan the UML, stick around it for a little bit so other players could join in, and you get access to the stickers that they put on the map. After that, make your way towards all the stuff that they marked down while keeping your eye out and collecting every blue orb that you can on the way. If you see a reef or a shipwreck on your way there, be sure to check it out, as a lot of times you will find a large cluster of blue orbs there to collect. After the UML despawns, begin filling out as much of the map as possible. After 3 to 5 minutes, begin looking for the next anomalies to scan, so that way you could get the next UML to spawn in. Once the next UML spawns in, do the exact same thing as you did before. If you run out of markers to go to on the map, begin filling out the map even more and going to places you have not explored yet, scanning as much fish as possible and keeping your eye out for any reefs and shipwrecks. A couple very specific tips that I have as well. Blue light orbs generally spawn in shipwrecks, reefs, and around large schools of fish. In addition to that, as soon as you scan the UML, look around the general vicinity for blue light orbs, as a lot of times you'll find quite a few clusters around it. Some maps and some UMLs are better for point grinding than others. For maps, the map with the school of manta rays is a very quick and very easy way to get a lot of points quickly, as multiple layers of blue light orbs will constantly spawn where the manta rays are. The seal UML is another way to get a lot of points very quickly. He often goes down to the seafloor to dig up buried treasure, which you can scan and collect and adds to your overall point count. The treasure generally range between 3,000 and 6,000 points, so that is definitely something worth looking into. For the anomalies, or the biometric fish, whatever you want to call them, if you're having a hard time finding them, look down. A lot of times there will be small creatures that blend into the ocean floor, especially if they are in the deeper, darker parts of the map. If you're looking for large numbers of creatures to scan at one time, keep an eye out for reefs and shipwrecks. A lot of players will end up missing quite a few fish there, as a lot of them are small and hard to see. And lastly, be sure to use your stickers, whether it's marking treasure for other players or marking down fish that spawn near reefs or near a shipwreck to make it easier to find when looking for blue orbs. Fish with a blue light generally give 30 points per scan, and fish with yellow lights generally give anywhere between 80 and 300. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you all enjoyed and found it helpful, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Also, I livestream Endless Ocean a couple times a week on Twitch, where you can see me grinding to try to get over 300,000 points in an online dive. I've gotten extremely close, and one of these days we're going to make it. If that type of content interests you, please consider checking me out on Twitch. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have a good dive.